Hey everybody, welcome to another game of War Machine. I'm Lightem'up. I've got the third battle finally of my little tournament we did at War Machine Weekend, the Scramble, the 8-man Scramble. And this is the final table. I'm 2-0 so far going into this match, and I'm facing up against the new caster, Fyanna, Torment of EVERBLIGHT. So, the opponent here, I didn't know him at the time, but if you guys have ever been to War Machine Weekend, he always wears a funny hat with fur coverings over his ears. I don't remember his name, but he was playing Fyanna this weekend. He had bought her on Friday. This is Saturday of the event, and so this is my first time facing her. I'll give my thoughts on her at the end of the video if you'd like to stick around to hear that, but let's go into his list real quick. He's got 2 angels with her battle group, and then a seraph as well. The angels are pretty good because they can't be knocked down, and then her feat gives them +3 defense and dodge, so they're going to have defense 17 angels with dodge that cannot be knocked down. That's pretty hard to deal with. The seraph in there with the, I believe that's the one with the flare gun, flare machine guns. 2 spell martyrs, 3 shepherds, which is a bit of support for Legion more than necessary, but I think Fyanna's only a Fury 6 caster, if I'm correct. Got the new BLIGHTED NYSS Warlord, which is the solo that goes with the NYSS Swordsman, and he was pretty amazing in this game. He's got the BLIGHTED NYSS Swordsman maxed out with their character attachment Abbot and Champion, which are pretty cool. He's only bringing 1 HELLMOUTH, which is nice. I don't like dealing with 2 of them. And then a Blighted ORGUN WARSPEARS with their Chieftain. So, got a lot more infantry in this list than normal, but I think Fyanna's feat pretty much doesn't care what you have. She makes all of Legion really good. So, let's get into this, and we'll go into my list real quick. Alright, so my list is, once again, the same list I've been playing the other 2 games, last 2 weeks of the videos. It's because it's a, it's a scramble, so I have the same list every time. For those of you who haven't watched the first 2 videos that I put out the last 2 weeks, go ahead and watch those and I'll explain to you why everything's in there. But basically, just got Despoiler, Tiberion, and Gladiator, Totem Hunter, Tyrant Rhadeim, the Ferox Cats, which I refer to as Cats, and the Karax Shield Wall minimum unit, and then a minimum unit of beast handlers. On to the game. Alright, so there's the deployment, and you guys see there's an awful lot of terrain on this board. I think there's 8 pieces with a lot of defensive parts on his side of the board, and I've got the 1 wall not far from my flag, and then I got a bunch of water down here in my deployment zone. So my deployment's pretty standard. I got the Karax over on my left flank. They're going to go over and try to deal with that HELLMOUTH. My Totem Hunter, which I call my Predator, he's behind my lines right now, but he actually ends up praying the HELLMOUTHs because I want him to be able, I think he'll be able to kill the HELLMOUTH, we'll see. Despoiler, Gladiator, and Chibs all around me, and then my Cats off on my right flank try to take advantage of the forests over there since they can walk and jump through those forests. And then Beast Handler's just behind. My opponent's deployment, he mirrored his WARSPEARS up on the other side of my Karax. And then he's got his swordsman opposite my Cats. So, sorry, he's got his WARSPEARS opposite the Karax, and the WARSPEARS opposite the Cats. Alright, anyway, but on to round 1. Alright, so you can see he went first, and he ran up. He's got his angels leading the way, which is probably a good idea with his defense. He's got one of the upkeeps, Fury, up on the front angel. His seraph hanging back there on the hill, and then the swordsman running up and the organ running up. Now he did make sure to keep his swordsman far enough back that my Cats cannot run to engage or just run or walk and jump or charge up to them. So they will be safe, which is not too difficult to do on first turn. He deployed his HELLMOUTH tentacles right out there about 6 inches or so from him, not to their max distance. And he's got his HELLMOUTH protecting his flag over there. So, easy enough turn 1. And then on to my turn 1. So, positioning is going to be extremely important in this game. Obviously, he out-threatens me with his speed of his angels. And then his feat can be just ball-busting. I think especially against Skorne, because the highest mat we get is mat 7 with our beasts, and that's with my character beasts. I mean, even my Cats on the right flank there, they're only mat 6 because they can jump into the back arc to make them mat 8. So I'm going to really be struggling with his high defense, but he's got his... I tried to get the Despoiler up into position, put up his... so that I can get his debuff, his armor debuff out there next turn. It may have been a mistake sticking him out there that far. Got Tiberion over there on the left side of the wall, just in front of Xerxis. And then Xerxis went ahead and put up Defender's Ward onto the cats and get the cats up in front of Despoiler to prevent the Angel from getting in there and killing Despoiler. At least that is the plan. And then you see the Totem Hunter runs over there to the left flank so that he can go in and he can get to the HELLMOUTH next turn. And he'll be able to charge through that forest if I can kill off those tentacles, because he has the ability that allows him to ignore force. I think it's actually called Hunter. But, so there's my turn 1. The Karax are in shield wall. They did not have tactical supremacy because I was afraid of going naked on this turn. I just wanted to make sure I kept enough fury on myself to deal with any issues that might arise. So, on to turn 2. And wow! Alright, so that was that amazing turn he had. He was actually able to get the Swordsman Solo, the new Swordsman Solo, who has either a crit decap or I think he just has a regular decap on his sword, to charge over and kill the one cat that was blocking Despoiler, the one that was directly in front of Despoiler. And then he was able to run a Spell Martyr up and Gallows Groved him and got the 3. I think he needed a 3 or a 4. Actually, I think he needed a 4 in order to pull Despoiler far enough past the flag that the Angel would be able to walk up to him. And he was able to roll high enough that Despoiler got pulled up in front of the flag. And then it was pretty simple for his Angel with Fury to come over, and he just walked on over to Despoiler, thrust on him with a power 17 armor piercing attack against Despoiler's armor 9 at that point. So he was dice plus 8. And he pretty much wiped out Despoiler without an issue, which hurt me. He was then able to get a couple charges off on the other cat from his swordsman, or in a couple of runs. Only a few of those were charges, not all of them were. He did miss the cat there on the right, and he was able to dodge away, thankfully, thanks to Rhadeim from the second guy. Defender's Ward doing its job there. But on the left cat that was also trying to protect Despoiler, he died to the champion, who I did not know had countercharge. So when one of the guys missed, the champion countercharged and was able to kill off the cat on one hit, which was a little harsh, I think. Fortunately, he did not send in his other Angel onto Tiberion. I guess he didn't expect him to be able to do enough damage to him, but this will be his feat turn. You see this big feat token in the back, and he did waste a bit of clock. He's down to 38 minutes, which is good for me. I mean, it was a 14-minute turn for him, and I've got not a lot of miles left to activate, so I might have to start looking at the attrition just to try and win on the clock, but we're not quite at that point yet. So we'll see what my counterattack will be, and I've got onto the bottom of turn 2. Here we go. Alright, so my counterattack was not nearly as devastating as I was hoping it was going to be, but I was not too hopeful since it was Fyanna's feat. And turns out defense 17 Angels that can't be knocked down are pretty difficult to deal with. You'll notice that 2 of the HELLMOUTH tentacles are gone. They'll start there on the left side. I was unable to kill off the one tentacle that was blocking my charge lane with my Predator, Totem Hunter, call him Predator. So Totem Hunter just had to run, and he just ran and got on the hill so that he can charge into the HELLMOUTH next turn. And then on the right, as we continue over, you'll see the 3 cats that are left, not including Rhadeim. They got Stir the Blood from Xerxis. Xerxis did go ahead and pop his feat this turn, and then move back to get base to base with the Gladiator for the extra armor, and is camping a couple there. The cats that would Stir the Blood and the feat went up, and the first one missed his attack onto the Angel, which is why the Angel dodged away. And then the leader model, which is the little lighter colored one in the back there, he was able to get his pounce attack at power 14 with the additional die from the feat. So he was 4 dice damage into the angel, was able to hit, and then did very little damage. So that angel is essentially unhurt. The other cat that was left was able to kill off that swordsman because decap, just automatic decap, is straight disgusting on a solo. Other than that, I did play it rather defensively. I ran Tiberion over to the left flank to get him into range to be able to charge in and kill off the angels the next turn if he decided to commit, or to just kill all of the Ogren if he moved the Ogren over. And then I ran Rhadeim over to block landing spots because I don't need the angels just coming over and using their armor-piercing thrusts into Tiberion. So that is the general idea. I did forget to get Tiberion base-to-base with anything, so he's not getting the armor bonus. Pro tip, don't forget the armor bonus portion of Xerxes 1's feat if you have the option to not forget it. And then I was able to set myself up, I think, pretty well for the next turn, but we will see how this one goes. Alright, so on his turn, his counterpunch was pretty effective, but fortunately for me, his dice crapped out on him just a little bit. He sent the angel with fury in. He cleared that thing off with the SERAPH and his caster from the cats, and then he sent the angel with fury in onto my caster. Fortunately, I was camping, I believe, 3 fury at that point, and while I did have to hurt my beasts quite a bit, I did not kill either of them, which is good for me. And his angel is sitting there with full fury and just ripe for the taking. I mean, I've got Rhadeim, Xerxis, Gladiator, all right there. They can just go ahead and they're going to remove him from the board, especially now that he no longer has that +3 defense and dodge. But he was able to get up another angel up onto my flag, and I do not have any contesting models up there, so he will be controlling my flag for 1 control point. On the left side there, you'll see the Totem Hunter was pulled into the HELLMOUTH. The HELLMOUTH was able to roll the 9 he needed to hit the Totem Hunter and pull him in so that I will no longer be able to get the charge bonus, which even with prey is going to make it really difficult for the Totem Hunter to kill. I don't think it's going to be possible even. We'll see. Down on the bottom, you will notice that the Karax, thanks to set defense and the bad dice of my opponent with his Ogren WARSPEARS, they only were able to kill 1 of my 6 shield-walled Karax. So, good for me. Not an awful lot going on other than that. He was able to kill off all 3 of my cats. So all my cats are gone except for Rhadeim. And then he got a couple of shots into Rhadeim himself, but didn't do too much damage. Rhadeim's still sitting there with, I think, 5 hit points, and he is still on his horse. So we'll go into my turn and see what I can get to try to turn this around. Woo! Okay, so a much better turn for me. You'll see things are starting to turn around a little bit for Skorne. Side note, did you know that Champion has countercharge? Or Abbott, one of the two. Once again, got caught off guard by that for a second time in this game. Stop getting caught off by countercharge. But anyway, the Karax, the shield wall unit there on the left side, was able to take out, I think, 3 of the 6, 3 of the 6 WARSPEARS. 2 of the, maybe 2 of them. Anyway, they were able to take out a lot more of them than I thought they were going to, thanks to combined melee attack and getting Stir the Blood from Xerxes. The rest of them, Tiberion went ahead and killed off a couple of them, and Tiberion also killed off the countercharging guy. So what happened was, Rhadeim went in to charge the angel to get the first bit of damage onto the angel, and when he stopped his movement, he got countercharged, got dismounted, and I wasn't sure. I don't remember if he's allowed to continue his combat action if he gets dismounted, even if he completed his charge. I don't remember if we played it like he could or not, but Tiberion then was able to just smash that guy, and thanks to overtake, he moved up quite a bit, and is in position to take on the next angel the next turn. So the Karax there killed off a bunch of the ORGUN. The Totem Hunter was unable to kill off the HELLMOUTH, which is not completely surprising. And then the Gladiator was able to go up and take out the Angel, which was a little surprising. He rolled some pretty hot dice for the to hit dice, so that was good for me. I am trying to set up, I think Rhadeim was within 4 inches. Actually, I think he was not within 4 inches. The idea was he was going to stab and then reposition to get within 4 inches to contest the flag. But instead, my opponent is going to be going up to 3 control points. You will see on the clock there, this turn only took me like 10 minutes to do, whereas my opponent's turns have both the last 2 ones taken 14 minutes each. So I am winning on the clock currently, but I am down 3 control points, or 2 control points to none at the end of this turn. So it'll be 3 to none at least at the end of his turn. 4 if he decides to move his caster up there. But now Xerxes is threatening both of his beasts, and the Gladiator is almost completely healed thanks to beast handlers. And Tiberion is sitting there saying, "Come at me, bro." So we'll see how his next turn goes. Alright, so my opponent, he was pretty good on his counterpunch. You'll notice that Tiberion is no longer on the board. That happens. So he was able to get his Angel over, and the angel that was left, I should say, was able to kill off Tiberion. I mean, he was already pretty well damaged from the transfers that Xerxes had to use a couple turns ago. And then he sent in his SERAPH into my Gladiator, which didn't do an awful lot. I mean, Gladiator's not going to care too much about a SERAPH. And then he sent the Swordsman into Tyrant Rhadeim. You'll notice that the ORGUN once again failed to kill anything, which was fantastic. And unfortunately for me, the Totem Hunter did die to the HELLMOUTH. But his caster is now camping 1. He will be going up to 3 control points at the end of his turn. He is down to 14.5 minutes, but that is not quite low enough for me to go on to the clock. I think you really can't start thinking about a clock victory seriously until your opponent is probably down into the 7 or 8 minute range, and probably until you have a good advantage on the scenario as well. Not necessarily, but normally. So he does have me in a bit of a bind. I will lose this next turn if I cannot contest my flag or kill his caster. And since he is tying me up pretty well, contesting my flag is not looking like a great chance right now. So instead, I'm going to go all out for the assassination. He is only camping 1, which is good for me. So the idea here is I'm actually going to hold off on switching the photo so I can let you guys know what I was planning here. The idea here was, since he's got 2 guys that are tying Rhadeim up, or keeping Rhadeim from being able to charge, I will move 2 of my Karax over after unengaging them by moving the other 3 to block line of sight. Move 2 of my Karax over to attempt a CMA into one of the swordsmen, and then move up 1 or 2 of my beast handlers to get them in range to do attacks onto the other swordsman. So I know that both beast handlers and Karax are only mat 5, but when you're in desperate situations, you're in desperate situations. I mean, I'm pretty sure I need Rhadeim's armor pierce to take out his transfer. If not, at the very least, I mean, if he doesn't transfer, it'll do a ton of damage to him. So I probably need Rhadeim's armor pierce to do the transfer damage for me, assuming he can even hit. And then he did barely leave his caster inside of 10 inches of Xerxes, which is Xerxes' threat range, thankfully. So I will be able to get Xerxes onto his caster if I can clear the path, which is a big if. So onto my opponent, or onto my turn. Let's see what happens. Alright, well, obviously it didn't go as planned, since Xerxes is nowhere near Fyanna, and neither is Rhadeim. Unfortunately for me, my Karax were able to kill their 1, but my Paingiver was unable to. I mean, it was pretty hard. I mean, he needed like 9s or 8s or something like that to hit him, and there was no way for me to affect his dice. So I just needed to hard roll that stuff, and he was unable to do so. So instead, Rhadeim just went up and he killed the 1 guy that was still left. He was the further north guy of the 2 that was tying him up, and moved out of the way for Xerxes. And Xerxes just went in to get a bit of, what do we call it, moral victory on himself. He does have Defender's Ward on him, you see there. I put that on him a couple turns ago, and I just forgot to mention it. Actually, the turn he feed it, he had that on him. So, but yeah, anyway, the Angel there, I went in there just to try to kill him off because I wanted to at least get something else killed. Didn't really matter at this point. Not being able to kill Fyanna basically meant I was dead. I did camp one just in case he failed his assassination attempt. You never know what would happen. Unfortunately, I did not get a photo of the end, but I did get assassinated the next turn. So this will be a victory to Legion. So that is it for the game, and it was a good opponent. Obviously, Legion is a very tough opponent for Skorne, I think, especially when they have their high defense beasts and their high defense casters. I think Fyanna giving +3 defense to her entire army and dodge is pretty sick feat, honestly. I mean, you already take angels that can't be knocked down and seraphs that can't be knocked down. I think seraphs can't be knocked down. So you bring a lot of their beasts that can't be knocked down and that are already defense 14 or 13, and then you just go ahead and pump them up another 3 defense points. That's pretty. It's a lot of armies can't deal with that, and Skorne in particular can't deal with it very easily because of the Mat 6s, Mat 7s, Mat 5s. A lot of that most Skorne troops have. Most Skorne troops are 5 or 6. Very few are 7s. I do think that our new caster Zadesh probably helps that out a little bit, since his feat can sort of counter it. It gives that +2 to Mat, so that effectively they only get a +1 Mat. Not a great counter, but that is a counter. And then obviously there's other things you can do, but I like where Skorne is. Hopefully in about a month and a half or so we'll have the new errata and see where Skorne goes from there. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'm sorry I was only able to get one out a week, but things are just too hectic here. I hope to see you all next week, and next week will be an actual video battle report instead of a picture battle report. I'm still kind of wondering if you guys like the pictures better or the videos better, so if you want to go on to my Facebook page, which the link is in the doobly-doo below, or there is the link at the end of the video here, and just let me know what you think, which one you like best, if you have anything in particular you want to see on the next battle report. I will try to get caster matchups that you guys want to see, new casters. I do have Zadesh 2 painted, and I think next week's report is a Zadesh 2 battle report, so we'll see how that one goes. Alright, thanks guys, thank you for watching, and please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all next week.